Hey, everybody, it's Mike from The Mike Wagner Show, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. Looking at a professional website without breaking your budget? Sonic Web Studios is the answer. Sonic Web Studios offers fast, affordable custom web designs that blow the competition away. Call today, 1-800-303-3960. That's 1-800-303-3960. Or email to support@sonicwebstudios.com. Mention The Mike Wagner Show. Get 20% off your first project. Sonic Web Studios, take your image to the next level. Also, time to give an official shout out to our official sponsor of the Mike Wagner Show, international award-winning author Mian Mosenzia. If you love fast-paced mysteries, you're going to love Missing by Mian Mosenzia. Available on Amazon and paperback and ebook. Missing is fast-paced and intriguing with an unforgettable twist. Takes place in 4 countries, 2 strangers, and 1 target, where truth is an illusion and those you love be the first to go missing. It's available on Amazon and paperback and ebook, which is Missing by Mian Mosenzia. Missing by Mian Mosenzia has garnered great reviews and even loved and endorsed by Hollywood celebrities, including Joanna Cassidy, Forbes Riley, many others. So grab your copy today before it goes missing by Mian Mosenzia, available on Amazon. Also, The Mike Wagner Show can be heard on themikewagnershow.com. You can check our Facebook page at facebook.com/The Mike Wagner Show. You can download and listen on Facebook, SoundCloud, Spreaker, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Also on Anchor FM, iTunes, Google Play, Amazon, Audible, and Apple. Coming soon to Podbean, Buzzsprout, Pandora, and TuneIn. Heard worldwide on Geo 7, Radio Public, Himalaya, and more. Take the Mike Wagner Show with you on any mobile device. Subscribe to the Mike Wagner Show on the YouTube channel, and follow the Mike Wagner Show on Instagram and Twitter, and support the Mike Wagner Show on PayPal at paypal.me/Mike Wagner voiceover, and also support on Anchor FM, and also check out the cool merchandise on the Mike Wagner Show page at amazon.com/the Mike Wagner Show. And for some great books and some great gift ideas, including t-shirts, hoodies, and pop sockets and more, go to amazon.com/Mian Mosenzia and shop today. We're here with a terrific gentleman who is a drummer from the Pacific Northwest and also owner of the Panther Studio. He's worked with Drive-By Truckers, Jerry Joseph, Decemberist, REM with the associate acts and everything else with some of the performers. Also play with the Dave Andrews Band, Little Sue Band, the Minus Five, and more. And he's also got some great songs off of a new album that he's done as well. And live from the Pacific Northwest, bundling up in his Panther Studio, ladies and gentlemen, the very, very talented producer and drummer of Axiom and his own release, Steve Drizos. Steve, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thanks for joining us today.
Mike, thank you so much for having me.
Oh, it's great to have you on board, Steve. So you basically have your own studio, which is the Panther Studio, which you're in right now. And you also worked with artists who are involved with Drive-By Truckers, Jerry Joseph, Decemberist, REM. You also play with the Dave Andrews Band, Little Sue Band, the Minus Five, and more. And you also got your new album called Axiom, and we'll talk about a few songs. And you also been an amazing drummer from the Pacific Northwest. And before we get into all that, tell us how I first got started, Steve.
Oh, well, my musical career started inspired by my father. He was a semi-professional drummer, and he really instilled my my love of music. He was in a Beatles cover band, and I'm from upstate New York originally, so he grew up right outside of the city. So he was in bands his whole life, and really got me inspired to start playing music, and just was playing rock and roll for me at a very, very young age.
Wow.
And I started studying drums when I was about 10 years old, and was in all the jazz bands and whatnot all through high school and college, and started touring in my first national act in 1995.
Wow.
And so that's kind of where the professional career started for me.
Mm-hmm. And what was that? Who'd you open up for in 1995? You're talking about being a national act.
That project was a band called Dexter Grove, and we were based out of upstate New York. We toured. We were a duo, we called ourselves Acid Folk Music. We were sort of a folk based, but a lot of improvisational aspects to the music as well. And we did about 250 shows a year for about 10 years straight, and played from small coffee houses to big theaters, and opened up for people like Dave Mason to all the way to Quiet Riot. So we kind of did everything. Yeah.
Come on, feel the noise. You've got Grove right there.
Yeah, yeah. When we were on stage, he had the mic stand with like the striped, tape up and down the mic stand. We saw in all the videos when we were kids. It was awesome. It was great.
Oh my gosh, that had to be an experience. And
Yeah.
who are some of your favorite drummers growing up?
Wait, man, I'm a bottom fan through and through. That's really what got me the many hours spent with the headphones on playing along to Zeppelin records. Big Neil Peart fan. Stuart Copeland was a big influence of mine. Um, yeah, Phil Collins fan.
Oh yes, the
You know, I,
legend himself. My
I
goodness, yes.
he's so underrated as a drummer. People don't even really mention that anymore, which is a shame. But man, you listen to Lamb Lies Down on Broadway, and just those grooves are just so tough on those. So, yeah, just but Bonham for sure was and continues to be the one for me.
Mhm. It's amazing. You talk about Phil Collins and how it was brought up that a lot of people don't see him as just as a drummer, and he's actually one of the first and quite few very multi-talented musicians. Coming out of England, and a lot of people don't realize that not just a drummer, but a pianist, songwriter, actor, and he's a comedian too. I got to see him twice, and he actually performed some comedy. And a little known fact that he's very multi-talented. And what's really sad is that he gets dissed all across the board.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And I mean, I love all this stuff, even the stuff that people seem to make fun of is kind of poppier stuff. I mean, I think it's just it's hooks for days, just great melodies that get stuck in your head. And yeah, I am unapologetically a Phil Collins fan.
Oh, definitely one of the best up there. You also hit some of the drummers I enjoyed. Neil Peart, Stuart Copeland, John Bonham, and quite others as well too. How about some of the drummers that you listen to today, and maybe rattle off some names like the drummers today out there?
Oh, that's a really good question. I feel like a lot of the stuff that I've been listening to as of lately is going back to 90s rock music. Like that's kind of where my a lot of my current tastes have been lately. I'm a big Dave Grohl fan.
Hmm.
Uh, like I'm mentioning all these drummers who have stepped out from behind the kit. Um, but yeah, I think drummers who kind of have an all around sense of musicianship and can play other instruments. They're just more. There's so much more musical. Um, and there's a lot of great local drummers, local bands that I really dig. Jai Tanzer from Portland, Oregon, is one of my absolute favorite drummers. Um, but yeah, it's hard to be on the spot to start rattling off names. I apologize for not doing a better job of it.
No, no, don't worry about it. In fact, one of them I interviewed was Kenny Aronoff. He did.
I listen. I
Yeah,
listened to
John
that.
Cougar Mellencamp, 17 years, amazing guy. He makes great coffee, also.
I listened to that interview last night. That you did with him. It was amazing. It was so good. He was just God. I remember being a young kid and listening to those records, and he was just a straight up kind of meat and potatoes, hard hitting drummer,
Hmm.
and that's kind of my style as well. And he's so great.
He's just amazing too, not just meat and potatoes. Excuse me here, but also just makes some great coffee. He's got a coffee out called Kabam, and I just had some of that. It makes me think of Kabam having coffee, and that's boom, 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 boom.
Yeah,
Just Jack and Diane. Every time I had that, it's like that drum solo. The MIDI one just gets stuck right in my head, and just like
yeah,
drum solos. Phil Collins in the air tonight. Boom, 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 boom,
that's
boom, boom.
exactly right.
Yeah, and of course, just simple hooks like that just really get you on. And I was reading a story about his youngest son, Nicholas, now playing, 19 years old, and there was a story in there that he got to step behind the kit. It was like what 60, 70,000 at Wembley, and he was nervous at first. All you do is like follow your dad, boom, boom, just like that, and he's like, "This is nothing."
Oh, what a great story. That's so great.
Oh, it's great as well too, and I'm glad you like the Kenny Aronoff interview. If I have him on, I'll make a mention as well too. And of course, there's one thing before we take a little time out here. And what was it one precise moment that influenced you into what you're doing for the rest of your life?
Man, I would say my earliest memory is hearing the guitar riff on Paperback Writer and being really young and not really understanding what it was that was making me feel the way that it was, but I knew there's something magical there.
Mhm.
And that's my earliest memory of just being like, whatever that is, I want to explore that. And that really just kind of set me on my way of going down the road of rock and roll.
You talk about Paperback Writer. That's one of my favorite Beatles tunes. Everybody says, "Hey Jude," "Yesterday," "Can't Buy Me Love." They rattle every one. And I hear very few people say their number one favorite Beatles song is Paperback Writer. And I have to say, it's like, that's one song I'll play over and over and over and never get tired of it.
Yeah, the riff is just I never heard anything like it before, and that was just it was magic to me.
Mhm. And my wife's a paperback writer as well too. She wrote a couple of books, and I can relate. But looking for that big success, and everything else. I mean, just an amazing tune. And we'll talk about more about your amazing works and how your other influences with Axiom and more. But first, listen to the Mike Wagner Show at the MikeWagnerShow.com, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at SonicWebStudios.com for all your needs. Looking at a professional website without breaking your budget? Sonic Web Studios is the answer. Sonic Web Studios offers fast, affordable custom web designs that blow the competition away. Call today, 1-800-303-3960. That's 1-800-303-3960, or email to support@sonicwebstudios.com. Mention the Mike Wagner Show, get 20% off your first project. Sonic Web Studios, take your image to the next level. Also, time to give an official shout out to our official sponsor of the Mike Wagner Show, international award-winning author Mia Mohsen Dia. If you love fast-paced mysteries, you'll love Missing by Mia Mohsen Dia, available on Amazon in paperback and ebook. Missing by Mia Mohsen Dia is fast-paced and intriguing with an unforgettable twist. Takes place in 4 countries, 2 strangers, and 1 target, where truth is an illusion and those you love be the first to go missing. Missing by Mia Mohsen Dia, available on paperback and ebook on Amazon. It's also garnered great reviews and even loved and endorsed by Hollywood celebrities, including Joanna Cassidy, Forbes Riley, and many others. So grab your copy today before it goes missing by Mia Mohsen Dia, available on Amazon. Also, the Mike Wagner Show can be heard on the MikeWagnerShow.com. You can check our Facebook page at Facebook.com/the Mike Wagner Show. You can download and listen on Facebook, SoundCloud, Spreaker, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Also on Anchor FM, iTunes, Google Play, Amazon, Audible, and Apple. Coming soon to Podbean, Buzzsprout, Pandora, and TuneIn. Heard worldwide on Geo7, Radio Public, Himalaya, and more. Take the Mike Wagner Show on any mobile device. Subscribe to the Mike Wagner Show on the YouTube channel, and follow the Mike Wagner Show on Instagram and Twitter today, and support the Mike Wagner Show on PayPal and also on Anchor FM/support. Also, check out the Mike Wagner Show merchandise at Amazon.com/the Mike Wagner Show. And for cool books and for some cool gift ideas, go to Amazon.com/Mia Mohsen Dia and order today. We're here with drummer Steve Drizos here on the Mike Wagner Show. And also, we talked about some of the influences and a lot of great drummers we all grew up with. And before we talk about your latest work, Axiom, you did in the Panther studio, and you worked with artists involved with Drive-By Truckers, Jerry Joseph, Decemberists, REM, and more. You also play with the Dave Andrews Band, Little Sue Band, -5, and more. And tell us about some of the bands you worked with, played with, and also some of the guys you also worked in, what their experiences like.
Yeah, absolutely. I guess just to clarify things, I am currently the drummer for Jerry Joseph and the Jack Mormons.
Yes, I was just going to mention that. A little surprised, but I'm glad you mentioned it. So,
Yeah, yeah. I've been with Jerry for about 15 years now. And some of those other bands you listed are bands that I've played with previously. Dave Andrews Band, Little Sue. As far as the other names that you mentioned, Patterson Hood from the Drive-By Truckers, he's a Portland guy now, and so I've done a few projects collaborating with him over at the studio. He produced Jerry Joseph's last record, so we kind of use the Panther, my studio, as a place to cut demos and whatnot. I'm closely affiliated with the Decemberists. My wife is the keyboard player for the
oh,
Decemberists.
nice.
So they're, obviously, a close family. And so they're always kind of hanging around the studio to work on material. Good friend, Scott McCoy, who is the leader of the -5. He was a touring member of REM. And, so worked on a few projects with him over at the studio as well. Portland is just a big, it's a big musical family. It's really supportive of itself, and everyone kind of crossbreeds and plays with everybody else, and it's just a great vibe here.
And it sounds amazing too that you also play with Jerry Joseph and the Jack Morans as well too. And how'd you first get involved with Jerry Joseph and Jack Morans?
Jack Mormons.
Jack
Uh,
Mormons. I'm sorry.
yes. I had met Jerry when I was with the previous band that I was just speaking of, Dexter Grove. We met just through mutual friends. We were both touring acts, and maintained a friendship over the years. Did a lot of shows together. When I moved to Portland in 2004, slowly kind of rekindled our friendship, and that's how I started playing with that band. They started in 1995. They've been around for quite a few years, and have gone through some lineup changes during that time. But yeah, we keep busy. At least we did up until last year, obviously.
Hmm.
But yeah, we've had some great experiences touring both nationally and internationally as well.
Well, that's amazing. And who'd you open up with during that time you toured nationally and internationally?
Man, we've done God, Jerry collaborates quite a bit with a band called Widespread Panic out of Athens, Georgia. He writes quite a few of their songs, and so we've done some bigger shows opening for them. A lot of festival dates that we do. One of the favorites was Telluride, Colorado festival a few years ago. Pearl Jam was the headliner, and it was just a remarkable weekend of, a beautiful mountain town. So, yeah, we get to do all sorts of great stuff.
That is so amazing. And of course, you also got your project as well, too, called Axiom, recorded at the Panther. We'll talk about that in just a minute. Listen to the Mike Wagner Show at the MikeWagnerShow.com, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at SonicWebStudios.com for all your needs. And brought to you by our official sponsor of the Mike Wagner Show, international award-winning author Mian Mosendia of Missing, available on paperback and ebook on Amazon. We'll be back with the drummer Steve Drizos after this timeout. We're back with drummer Steve Drizos here on the Mike Wagner Show, and he's at the Panther Studio right now. And also, we're going to talk about his project called Axiom, and tell us more about that.
Well, Axiom is it's my debut solo record. My bulk of my career has been behind the scenes, as a side person playing the drums, but I've always been a songwriter since I was really young, and started collecting a bunch of material. I've always wanted to release a record, and just finally felt like I was in a spot where I was confident enough to put out a decent record.
Mm-hmm.
And so I recorded most of it myself here at the studio. Had a handful of musician friends help me out, but for the most part, I played both of the instruments, recorded it, mixed it, produced it, did all of it right here in my space.
Wow, that is so amazing. What inspired you to do a solo album? What was that precise moment for you?
Oh man, it's really hard to say if there was an exact moment. It was like I said, it was kind of years of culminating some ideas together, and I just finally realized that there was maybe a common thread in some of the lyrics that I was writing about. Was kind of going through some personal changes in my life, and it just really seemed like it was the right time to put something like this out.
Mm, okay. And what do you mainly base your lyrics on besides some of the changes you went through?
Man, just personal stuff. A lot of it is kind of discusses topics of mental health stuff. I've suffered depression, anxiety my whole life. Was self-medicating for many years, and I got clean about 4 years ago. And so the record was really a kind of a cathartic experience for me to kind of get through some of those early days seeing what sobriety was like, and just kind of recording my story and seeing if it can't help somebody else that's maybe going through a similar experience.
It sounds like an inspirational album for those going through what you're dealing with. And we'll talk about the title track. And you also had Juggling Fire and Static. You don't see that now. And Softer Please and more. Maybe tell us about some of the few songs as well. If there's something you want to add in, feel free to do so.
Yeah, most of the songs were written, like I said, kind of based around the topic of the changes I was going through. Some of the songs have been kicking around for some years, and I just had never got around to finishing them. Some of them are pretty autobiographical. A song like "Static," which is the single, was really based on this sort of constant barrage that we have of social media and kind of cable news, and it's just like there's just so much seems like shouting back and forth, but no one actually listening to each other.
Oh my gosh, I know what you mean.
So yeah, there's a lot, it's just like it's the static that's in the air all the time. So it was kind of just an observation on just how the world is right now and how it can be pretty overwhelming sometimes.
And especially too, it's just like Softer Please, Cover Your Eyes, Take You Home, and Liminal Space, and just kind of covers a theme about personal and take time, be quiet, and whatever else. And it seems like a reflective album and could also be therapeutic for people who are in need.
I hope so, and the reaction that I've gotten has been exactly that. People have reached out to me saying that they can absolutely relate to some of the topics that I'm singing about. It was really for myself stepping out of my comfort zone. I like to be a pretty private person. I don't like to talk about my personal life all that much, but but I realized maybe if I was just really honest and kind of just let my guard down, that it would resonate with people, and it seems like that was true.
Mhm. And you also did it at the Panther Studio as well too, and just like you have Abbey Road or whatever that studio Led Zeppelin did, it looks to be it's gonna be another legendary studio for you.
Oh man, I that's very kind of you to say. I hope so. I think I hope to kind of carve out my own little niche here. It's a studio in my house that my wife and I own here in Portland, and it's just a really comfortable place with trying to just have a super cool vibe. It's a kind of a hybrid digital analog space. And it's just really comfy, and it's just a place where people can come and just kind of be themselves and see what happens.
That is so amazing. And how'd you come up with the name Panther for your studio? How'd you come up with the
Uh,
Panther?
the inspiration, maybe you could see it in the shot. There's a black velvet painting that's hanging over my control board here.
Oh wow.
It's it was a gift from years ago, and it's just always has lived in the studio. And early on, one of the first projects I worked on, somebody said, well, I need the name of the studio for the album credits. And I just looked at the painting and that was it. I didn't overthink it. And the downside is I have more Panther trinkets and gifts from people than I know what to do with at this point. So careful what you name your studio.
Well, I'll send you a live kitty as well too, as
Yeah,
part of a thank you as well too. Here, kitty, kitty.
yeah,
We'll
that'd be
send
great.
that. We'll send a live panther over to you as part of a thank you gift on the Mike Wagner show. So look for it in the mail sometime soon. COVID or no COVID.
Yeah, that'll drum up some business.
Oh, we certainly will do that. Once again, we're Steve Drizos of of the group Jerry Joseph and the Jack Mormons on the Mike Wagner Show, doing a solo project with Axiom. And just a few more minutes. We love to have you back on, Steve. You've been fantastic. And what can we expect from you in 2021 and beyond?
Well, that's a great question. I think for the time being, all of us touring musicians are kind of just hanging tight and waiting to see what the next thing is going to be. We've stopped trying to predict what the future holds as far as COVID and the pandemic. In the meantime, I hope to just keep busy in the studio. People still want to create and make music, and able to do projects both in person and with technology the way it is. I'm doing a lot of remote recording and projects, working with people all over the country. And so that's what I'm going to be doing more of for the foreseeable future, and start working on the follow up to Axiom.
That is very amazing. We're very looking forward to it. Love you back on talking about the follow up. And who do you consider biggest influence in your career, Steve?
Biggest influence in my career, man. At the time being, I'm so in the production and engineering world. You know, I've been listening to Paul McCartney's latest record a lot because he recorded all that himself in his own studio.
You mean McCartney 3?
McCartney 3, yeah, yeah. And so really drawn a lot of inspiration from the fact that he played almost all the instruments and produced it and did like all of it himself. And so at the moment I think I'm riding high on the Paul McCartney train.
That is so amazing. And I saw the album cover. It looked like, I had a diamond, had like, 3 dots, but actually came from like a die or something, or dice or something. I thought that's very, very clever.
Yeah.
A lot of rave reviews. And I had this group on who actually was influenced by Paul McCartney and Wings. That's like one of the big super groups we had, Paul McCartney. And of course, he also collaborated with others as well, too. And another performer that we talked about earlier who also did an album where he did all the instruments by himself was Phil Collins. I think it was both sides of the story. It made me think of that. And that's like, I like to see more musicians play every instrument by themselves in a studio and crank out an album. I'd like to see more of that. And the pandemic, good time to take advantage of it.
That's right. That's absolutely true.
That is. And who do you consider biggest influence in your career?
Uh, my biggest influence in my career. I don't know if I can come up with an answer for that right now. I don't know if I have a singular biggest inspiration, I'd have to go back to the beginning of the conversation when I was talking about my old man inspiring me, and I still to this day look to him for inspiration and just life in general.
That is amazing and something to look forward to, something to reinforce. And what's the best advice you can give to anybody at this point?
Man, well, I would say if you're struggling, which a lot of people are struggling right now, if you need help, reach out, because there's people and there's organizations and there's help out there, and you don't have to go it alone. You might feel like you're the only person going through what you're going through, but I guarantee you that you are not.
Mhm.
And
And, mhm,
and there's help.
and lastly, how can people help?
People help. Check in on your friends. Send a text. Pick up the phone. Call. If you're thinking of somebody, just give them a call. Don't say I'll call them tomorrow. Just do it.
Yeah, just like right here, and I'm going to do so right now with some of my friends. I'm glad you brought that up. Once again, Steve Drizos of drummer on the Mike Wagner Show with his solo project Axiom. Plays with Jerry Joseph and the Jack Mormons. Steve, a very big thank you for your time. You've been absolutely fantastic and inspiring. Looking forward to having you again soon. Do us a favor, keep us updated. Love you back on in 2021 and beyond. And once again, tell us about your upcoming projects. What's your website? How do people contact you? Where can people purchase or listen to your music?
My website is stevedrizos.com, DRIZOS.com, and all the records I've been involved on are available there. Same thing with Spotify. You can search me on Spotify under the same name. I'm going to be doing a live stream show on my Facebook page on the 28th of February. So I'm going to be playing some songs off the record. But yeah, that's sign up on the mailing list. Follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all the usual outlets.
We certainly will do so. Once again, Steve, a very big thank you for your time. You've been absolutely amazing. Looking forward to having you again soon. Do us a favor, keep us up to date. Love you back on in 2021 and beyond. And don't forget to keep in touch. You've been absolutely terrific.
Mike Wagner, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.